Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the big ideas. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful poem by Pablo Neruda called Keeping Quiet.
So get this, what if the solution to our biggest problems was, well, to do nothing? I know, it sounds pretty radical, right? But that is exactly what the poet Pablo Neruda proposed. He just said, what if we all just stopped?
All right, so to really get his solution, we first have to understand the problem he was seeing. And for him, at the very core of it all was this specific kind of sadness that he saw just consuming the entire world. And we're not just talking about feeling a little bit down. Neruda is pointing to something much deeper, a sadness that comes from this constant, unthinking rush. You know the feeling, right? We're all so busy chasing success, just keeping things moving, that we never actually stop to understand ourselves. And that failure, that complete lack of looking inward, that's what he says leads us to hurt ourselves and pretty much everyone and everything around us.
I mean, you could almost think of it like a kind of slow, collective suicide. This relentless race for progress, for personal gain, without ever stopping to think. It has some seriously dangerous consequences for all of us.
And what's really fascinating is how the poem points this out happening at every single level. You've got the big stuff, right? The green wars against nature, the wars with gas and fire between countries. But then it zooms all the way down to the individual. You have the fisherman harming the whale, and even the man gathering salt, whose own hands are hurt by his work. It's like everyone, everywhere, is caught in this same harmful cycle. And all of this leads to this feeling of, what's the point? The poem hits you with this devastatingly simple question. What good is a victory with no survivors? I mean, wow. It's such a powerful takedown of a world that seems to be just racing towards its own end. Okay, so, faced with all of this sadness, all this destruction, what's Neruda's big idea? What's his seemingly simple proposal to fix it all? Believe it or not, it all starts with this one number, 12. The poem kicks off with this simple request. Now we will count to 12, and we will all keep still. That number 12, it's symbolic, you know? It represents the hours on a clock, the months in a year. It's a measure of time, a little slice captured from our real lives. But here's the key. It's not just about being quiet for the sake of it. This pause, this intentional silence, it's all about creating a space for us to look word. It's our chance to hit the brakes on all that destructive momentum and finally reflect on what we're actually doing. Just try to imagine that for a second. A world with no rush, no sound of engines, nothing. The poem calls it an exotic moment. And for that one brief, strange moment, we'd all be in it together. We'd share this sudden stillness, and that could spark a real feeling of peace, of brotherhood.
Okay, now it's super easy to get the wrong idea here, to misunderstand what this stillness is all about. Because trust me, it's not nearly as passive as it sounds.
So this is probably the biggest question people have, and it's a totally fair one. Is he just saying we should do nothing, like total inactivity, basically death? Well, he actually saw that question coming, and his answer is crystal clear. The answer is a big, fat no. Absolutely not. The poet says it himself, I want no truck with death. See, this has nothing to do with being lazy or just giving up. The whole point is to take a life-affirming pause. It's about stopping the harmful stuff so we can create a moment to look inside and recharge. So the goal here is to just suspend all the destructive things we're doing by putting a pause on war preparations, on damaging our planet, on hurting ourselves. We finally make room for a new, more thoughtful way of living to show up, a way of life that's actually rooted in peace and understanding. Now, if you're still thinking, I don't know, how can a pause actually be productive? Well, Neruda has the perfect teacher to prove his point, the earth itself. And this is such a powerful image, right? A lesson straight from nature. The poem is basically saying, hey, look, stillness isn't the end of life. It's actually a totally necessary part of the cycle for life to keep going. Just think about that cycle for a second. In the middle of winter, the earth looks dead, right? Totally still, totally inactive. But that's just a quiet moment. Underneath the surface, life is getting ready for a comeback. And then boom, spring arrives and everything bursts to life again. It's the perfect example. That period of quiet didn't mean life stopped. It just meant it was getting ready. So, this all brings us to the big takeaway, the ultimate message of the poem, and what it really means for us, right now, in our crazy busy, and let's be honest, often destructive world. The central idea is really simple when you break it down. By making a conscious choice to just stop all the harmful stuff we're doing, even for a few seconds, we give ourselves the time and the space we desperately need. Time to understand each other, time to see our own mistakes, and time to start fixing our destructive ways.
So, you see, this pause, it isn't really an ending. It's actually a beginning. It's a chance to kind of cleanse our hearts, clear our minds, and when we do that, we can start to see the world and each other in a whole new light. And that really leaves us with one final, powerful thought to chew on. This isn't about changing the entire world in one grand gesture. It's about starting small. It's about starting with one quiet moment. So the question is, what could just 12 seconds of stillness do for you right now?